Hey everyone, Dave here with Blueberries Games with another edition of $20 budget decks. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about one of the more popular colors in Magic and one of the most popular, tribes in Magic, if not the most popular. And of course, we're talking about zombies, so aptly named Brains. Let's go ahead. This is your basic tribal, you know, zombie deck. So nothing real, surprising in here. We're gonna have cheap, efficient zombie creatures, and then hope to win through combat. So I tried to find the most efficient ones I could. So I started off with Hunted Ghoul. Uh, it seems like when this card for Hunted Ghoul was printed, one to cast 1/2s weren't so common. Now I'm seeing a lot of one to cast 1/2s and even 2/1s. So it's efficient, but it's not as efficient as it used to be. So I got a playset of them in there. The little tech that I put in this is for when the game stall, because when you're playing Magic and you have like a clogged board, and a clogged board means that everybody's just got creatures out and nobody's attacking because nobody wants to be the aggressor, because the aggressor usually loses. I threw a Shepherd of Rot. I know that I like to keep most of the decks in the modern era, and you certainly can by when you upgrade taking these out. But this was my little deck tech that I put in here to make it so that if there's a stall in the game, you can win the game. Each player loses a life for each zombie in play. If you have a clogged board, you're going to be doing 15 damage to both of you. So that's where the little theory of this deck comes in. It's more of a, this is your win con because you're trying to deal the damage to everybody directly. And there are cards in here that will help it so that you can win that race for life. So, two of those are in here. Here's the first one. It's sacrifice a creature, target player lose life, and you gain a life. That's essentially to make it so that the Shepherd or Rot, you're ahead on life so that you can kill anybody, other than yourself with Shepherd or Rot. And there's a lot of those in here. So that's the main theme of the deck. Highborn Ghoul was an efficient 2 to cast 2/1 with Intimidate. I always tout to you guys, evasion, evasion, evasion. When you're doing a creature deck, any type of aggro deck, evasion is king. And however you can get it, you get it. Zombies don't have a lot of it. They're shambling zombies, for God's sakes. I mean, they're not supposed to have evasion. They're supposed to be slow. But this one has Intimidate. Essentially, Intimidate is just fear. They have gone away from fear. I don't know why, but they've given every color and they call it Intimidate. So, Servant of Timoret, he's the main reason why you should be ahead in life. Because he can attack in and then regenerate. The whole point to him is to be able to attack in, regenerate, and not worry about him. And then untap him so that you gain life based off of the damage you do with him when you untap him. So that's the reason for this servant. Gravedigger. Every zombie deck has a Gravedigger. It helps you get your important pieces back. So if somebody kills your Shepherd or Rot, you go ahead and just get them back. It's that simple. And you always put a playset of them in because they're on tribe and they're efficient to help you get your pieces back that you need. Abdor Ghoul was more along the lines of a 3/2 first striker was what I was looking at him for, and then I read the rest of them. And I was like, oh, well, you can also gain life, so that fits into the theme with the Shepherd of Rot. So I went ahead and threw him in, a couple of him. The main reason to play zombies nowadays is for Gray Merchant of Asphodel. You want to play mono black zombies with him. He can single-handedly win you a game if you play it right. His ability was each opponent. So if it's a multiplayer game, it's each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black, and you gain that life. This plays double, actually. This is more of a Shepherd of Rot. You gain life, but it also, a lot of the creatures in this deck are pretty much just straight black mana color costs. There's not a whole lot of colorless mana costs in a lot of the deck cards here. So you're hoping that you can get, say, 14 damage in with this guy and you gain that. So the Gray Merchants are like the quintessential best zombie as far as the common slot goes, in my opinion. And of course, there's 2 of them. Now we're in black, so the suite of creature removal and defense is it's pretty straightforward. Kill the creatures. Bone Splinters, more along the lines of a. I have some stuff that creates a couple tokens. I wanted some cheap efficiency in here, so I put this in here. So when you do create the tokens, you can just sacrifice them instead. For 1 to cast, I mean, it just destroy anything, any creature. Terrors, as always. Assassinates is destroy a tap creature. So if your opponent's aggressive, like they're playing zombies, you can go ahead and get rid of whatever you need. Asphyxiate for the untapped versions if the board's clogged. And I put 4 of them in there because I have a feeling with this deck that the board will be clogged up with a lot of defenders, more so than other decks. Death Caress for in case if you can gain life with it, so you can get ahead for the Shepherd of Rot theory. And then Sip of Hemlock. Now the reason for Sip of Hemlock, it's expensive. I understand it's expensive, but remember this is budget decks. It does have a reason though. If you can get ahead in life on this with this deck, the Shepherd of Rot will do all the damage for you. So if you can make them lose damage without having to attack in and do it directly, you're at an advantage. So I went with 2 of those. I said earlier, we have a way to create tokens. This one actually is one of the more efficient ways. It creates 2/2/2s for 4, so essentially it's 4 power for 4 on the board. But it has flashback, meaning you can do it again. So it actually has a little bit of value to it. You can, do it multiple times, and I threw 2 of those in here. The rares that I chose, these are a little weird, but just bear with me here. I went with Shepherd of Rot because it has a big ass. And I say that because I've been telling you that this deck's going to clog the board up and you're going to be stuck. This guy changes the whole tempo. He has a big ass. He can sit there and block anything. But the more important thing is the extort. If you're sitting there, the reason why I wanted this deck to clog up the board and sit there and you guys just, you're building your army up and nobody's doing anything is because of the extort on Pontiff of Blight. So anytime you cast a spell, you can pay an additional white or black. And if you do each, by the way, opponent loses 1 life and you gain that much life. So if you're doing a multiplayer game and if you're not playing Commander for some reason, you're playing just 60 card deck multiplayer, which by the way we used to do back in the day, you gain 2 life off of it because it's for each opponent you gain that much life. This is the way that you end the game when the board is clogged and you're at a standstill with your opponent. So that's why I went with Pontiff of Blight. 2 Zombie Masters. Normally, I don't put 2 Lords in a deck, but I have an overload of Zombie Masters. They don't do the same thing as other Lords do. Most Lords give +1/+1. For some reason, Zombie Master didn't, for more expensive, but he has a 2/3. But he does give all of your guys Swamp Walk and Regenerate. Now, they don't use Regenerate very often anymore. There's a reason. It's actually rather powerful because if you can sit there and clog the board up and sit and just block and regenerate, it actually stalls the game out. The unfortunate thing about this deck is that while the Zombie Masters are in here, if you want to turn it into a more modern style deck, you have to kind of remove them. However, the good news about that, there are so many Zombie Lords out there that you can swap in. The problem is they're not rare, all of them. And the ones that are rare, I don't really have a lot of because I don't have those. I don't know why, but I just don't have those cards. But you can always change them out and make it more of a modern style deck. I believe that these are the only cards in here that are not modern. And if there's anything else, you can. There are so many zombies out there. You can change this out to make it more of a modern. You can even make it standard. For the next couple of days, but unfortunately the rotation is happening where it's more vampire related. So zombies in standard will be back again. You could possibly make a zombie standard deck, but for now, Zombie Masters are in there. The special edition card or the foil card, the special 4th card that I put in, again is another In Garrick's Wake. board clogging, wipe their board, attack in, done. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so that's the actual deck. The land suite is mostly swamps, but we've got. I always put Evolving Wilds in. I am running out of them. Baron Moor, again, I always tell you guys, I like to have cards in here that can eliminate bad draws. If you draw a Baron Moor, the worst case scenario is you pay a black and cycle it and get a new card. I like to eliminate bad draws at all costs. That's why the Evolving Wilds, so that you can take some basic lands out of your deck and eliminate that as a draw later. And the other one is Piranha Marsh. This one was one of those things where I was like, I want to put something in the deck that helps with the theme, but isn't like a really bad choice. This is kind of like if you're at 19, if you're at, you start the game at 20 life, and you play this, you're ahead of your opponent by that 1 life, and then your Shepherd or Rot does the rest. As the game goes on, you're going to be gaining life and losing life, so you're probably going to be ahead in life for the most part, unless you're playing against, say, a life-linking deck like a cat deck. But this was more along the lines of I wanted something that was a little techy but wasn't too expensive, so I went with Piranha Marsh. I could have gone with Bazooka Bog, but we all know that Bazooka Bogs are like $5 for a common. So that was the Mono Black Zombies deck that is available at GeekFest this year. I surnamed it Brains because it's zombies. So, if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos. And have a good day.